Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to watch 90 Day Fiancé. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I've been a therapist and a professor for over 20 years. Let's watch the show and see if anything of interest comes out of my face as I watch.
I'm not eating from this plate. Look, it's like, you know where people in prison give like these.
It's a nice place. It's expensive plates.
Sorry, baby, nothing is expensive here. What is expensive? $1.
It's better than you had in your apartment.
If I will change here, everything will look much better and will look like how I want to look at me.
So I'm always boggled by this sort of interaction on the show as well. There's nothing wrong with Yara saying, you know what, I don't like these plates, and I would like to buy different kinds of plates. It's another thing to say, these are terrible plates, they look like prison plates. Why not just say, these aren't my style? Maybe these are your style, but they're not my style. Not a big deal. When you move in together, you have to be nice to each other, right? You have to say, ooh, you know, that furniture is not really my style. Let's try to figure out how we're going to change that or whatever, but you don't want to just say, this is terrible. Everything is bad. You're just you have terrible taste. Like, why would you say that to someone? Just be like, not for me, but I'd like to try and look for other kinds of plates. Totally fine. Then the conversation should switch to, here is our budget. We are a couple. Here is how much money is coming in. Here is how much money is going out. How are we going to budget? So many people on this show, they treat it just like, I want this, I want that, and there's no conversation around, okay, we all understand that money is not unlimited, that we have this amount of money to play with because I make this amount and this amount goes towards fixed expenses. We all understand that concept, right? Well, here's the extra money that we have to spend on things like new plates or whatever. And so let's have a conversation. How do we as a couple want to spend that money? And they don't seem to have those kinds of conversations. It's just like, you need to buy me this, and well, I don't want to buy you that, and well, you have terrible taste. Well, you need to live with that, instead of working as a team. They're on the same team, aren't they? Anyway, let's continue watching.
Yara's not so thrilled about the way our apartment looks, so today we're gonna go furniture shopping. I know it's something important for her, and I want her to be happy.
So maybe this will go well, but if it goes like other interactions on the show, it will show us that they did not have a conversation prior to going into this furniture store about how the two of them want to work together on this project of buying new furniture. Again, here is how much money I have extra per month. We can spend it on going on vacations. We can spend it on a better apartment. We can spend it on furniture, but we can't spend it on all of those things. So how do we, as a couple, want to spend this money? And instead of him saying, I hold all the money and I'm not going to let you in on the decision-making process, and her saying, buy me more expensive things, and if you don't, then there's something wrong with you. They had this conversation earlier when she was flying in, and she was upset at him for buying a series of plane tickets that took 30 hours. And from one side, you could see her perspective of just like, wow, like you really got me the bargain basement airline deal that was extremely tiresome to me. That's why I don't want to go out, and I just want to go home and go to bed. Or on the other side, and we don't know, he could say something like, look, I don't earn that much money and I have limited funds, and so I'm barely scraping by right here. So can we work together on the budgeting? I actually couldn't afford the better airline ticket prices or something. Or if I did buy the more expensive one, that meant I wouldn't have been able to afford this apartment, and I would have had to have purchased a smaller place. So I just wish they would exhibit that, because I think one of the things that this show actually proposes to people is it doubles down on a stereotype where men have all the money and women don't, and that men are the misers and women are frivolous with things. And there's a lot of stereotyping going on there, and this show tends to play into that or exhibits it. I'm not quite sure.
So nice of Joe to take me shopping today because you have ugly at home.
Yeah,
Oh, furniture is so ugly.
thanks a lot.
Again, there's nothing wrong with her not liking the furniture, but you don't have to put someone down to ask for, hey, honey, this furniture isn't really for me. these plates aren't really for me, and let's look at the budget and let's go to the store, and you know what, I'll take care of making sure I sell this furniture on eBay or something, and let's be adults and let's work together as a team on this sort of thing instead of insulting each other. From the beginning, I've been wondering if these two even really like each other, because they really treat each other badly in my estimation.
I'm like, I came here for a 10-minute pickup to grab a mirror and like get out of here.
And I want a nice table. At that table, what you have
I'm
there,
not buying
will
a
drop.
table. Just let's get out of here.
You need a Snickers or something?
Nah.
No, I need to get out of here.
And what were y'all budget looking like today? Like what were y'all looking to do?
So she is asking the question that they should have asked themselves before even coming into the store. She is saying, the person who works there, what is your budget and what is your goal? Very good questions. Let's see what they say.
Oh, I guess with her, I don't really have a choice.
I know that she's want to redecorate everything.
It sounds.
Yikes. So instead of saying, well, okay, let's talk about it. Here is my budget. Here's how much money I think I have extra to spend on this sort of thing. Now, one of the things that a lot of men will do as a way of trying to prove their worth is they will hide the fact that they are on a budget. And they'll come across, and we've at least heard allegations of this on the show, that some of these men will make it seem like they're made of money because they're trying to be appealing. They're trying to up their appeal factor, if you will. And there's also a lot of pressure due to sexism put on men to have a lot of money and to have that kind of air about them. Some men, as a way of trying to demonstrate their toxic masculinity, will lie about their income and will act as though they have a lot more money than they actually do. And instead of saying, hey, let's talk about a budget, which requires you to disclose how much you make and have a conversation around it and to lower your power in the equation, the man, because they're sort of pushed into a corner, will try to retain the power by putting her down, by saying, I don't know about this, even though in the back of their mind, they're terrified because they don't want to have to reveal, look, I can't, if I buy you this couch, I'm not going to be able to buy food this month. You know, can we talk about this? The men on the show that they have these sorts of scenes, they have never done that yet, at least of the couples that I've watched. So this is just another reason why I think this couple is heading into some pretty rough waters, because they're having a difficult time even talking about a budget and what to buy.
Jovi, hard to say that he has a really good taste. He have a swamp taste. I don't think that Jovi really care.
I have what I need and I'm comfortable. I'm good.
Swamp taste means something like terrible, like taste with no taste.
So it'd be one thing if it was playful between two people, the way that you bond with someone by having a little inside joke. It's another thing when they're pretty much in a constant state of insulting each other and being obstinate to each other and looking for any reason to make the other person feel bad about themselves. At least what we're being shown on this show. We all understand that the real life of Yara and Jovi is complex and there's a lot of things going on. They only show a certain amount of thing to the TV cameras, and then the producers edit that down to what they're showing us. So who knows what's going on, but at least what we're seeing, which is all I can react to, is a lot of mean behavior towards each other and no evidence that they like each other, honestly. If you watch this and you didn't know the premise of the show, if you just saw this scene, you would assume that they were siblings or something, or friends that were forced to live together, or acquaintances or coworkers. You would not think that, oh, these are young lovebirds who just fell in love and they are totally in that phase where it's the honeymoon phase and you just can't get enough of each other. And, you know, we see that in other couples. We don't see that with this. Maybe they're having it away from the cameras. Who knows?
They're really too small. It's like for one person.
Tell her you can't really get, you ain't got much to work with
the
right now.
warehouse district, no.
I mean,
That's nice. That's
well-
really, really nice.
So stop complaining is pretty much what she's
Yeah.
saying.
okay. I don't know. How is called this in English again? I forgot.
Rug.
Rug.
Learn your English.
Oh my goodness.
Jonas?
Yeah. So, yikes. So we've seen this behavior before It's borderlining on abusive. The worker just reacted, oh my goodness, walks away. Just double yikes. Let's rewatch it.
I don't know. How is called this in English again? I forgot.
Rug.
Rug.
Learn your English.
Oh my goodness.
Please.
No, you can't be mean like that.
I can be one.
No,
This is what I got to
you
deal
can't.
with.
There's no excuse for that. None.
Can this salesperson just follow them around and help them out? Because they need a dose of her all the time. They need 12 doses of her every hour.
My friend, I'll tell her to slow down because he might not be the one. He's a little snippy, so I'm not used to that.
Color. Just
Okay, I don't like it. I don't want this sparkly rug in my apartment. I'm not putting that in my apartment.
So it's fine. You don't like that rug. You don't have to make excuses for that. When me and my wife bought a rug together not too long ago, and now that we have a puppy, all bets are off. All the rugs are rolled up and in the closet. But it's hard to find a rug that you both like. And sometimes you're like, oh my God, this is the perfect rug. And your spouse says, I don't like that. That's okay. How do you work it out together? You don't have to like something. And personally, I wouldn't like that rug either. I wouldn't want a rug that had that long of, I don't even know what you call it, fur and all the sparkles. I'm guessing that rug will look like crap in a month after people walk on it and stuff. Anyway, but that's my style. Yara's style is that rug. That's okay. I'm not with Yara. I don't have to have this conversation with her. Jovi is with Yara. Have the conversation, like each other, say, honey, I'm sorry, but that rug is going too far. That there's something about that style. It is just not me. Let's continue looking together as a team and find a rug that we both like. So he's also playing into this toxic masculinity notion around, oh, I don't like shopping, and I'm just a guy with the money, and let's get in and out of here, and I'm annoyed by this because a lot of men are taught that in order to assert their manhood, they have to hate shopping. They have to hate furniture. They have to be very pragmatic. Now, there's nothing wrong with anyone hating shopping or being pragmatic. But if you're building a life together and you clearly have opinions about which rug, then you got to participate. And it doesn't make you a woman to participate in rug shopping. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But I would take a guess that if we could talk to Jovi, that he would exhibit this kind of notion of, well, real men don't like shopping. Real men don't like shopping for rugs. Now, there's another possibility that he has been put down so much by Yara about his fashion choices that he is second guessing all of his choices and doesn't want to participate because he's worried Yara is going to say, you are a swamp person, which is literally what she said earlier. Or he, which I've been suspecting throughout this series, he is so hurt by her and susceptible to that hurt and doesn't have a way of communicating that hurt to her that he has mounting resentment going on inside of him, mounting hurt at the baseline, and then he transforms that growing hurt and pain into growing anger, but he doesn't express it through direct ways. He expresses it through these other ways of being resistant to the shopping, putting her down, saying that she needs to learn how to say certain words, by being very forceful about her spending the night at his mom's house. And what's happening underneath all that is I feel like Yara is looking down at me. I feel like Yara doesn't really like me as a person. I feel like Yara is just using me, but I want my attachment needs met. And so I'm going to try to, move forward. And I hope that, and maybe Jovi doesn't have a very good example of what a good, mutual, loving relationship looks like. I don't know. It's total speculation. But I'm wondering if what is fueling this mean behavior from him is a lot of pain underneath all that. I don't know.
I have to make her happy. I'm sorry.
I don't like this rug. I'm not putting it in my apartment.
Your apartment.
Yeah.
I know. It's
Choose wherever you want.
Where are you going?
I am not choosing nothing anymore.
can't say your apartment
Where is the
anymore.
door
She just
here?
moved here.
Yeah, that's it. The salesperson is, you can't say that. You can't say that it's your apartment. She just moved here. We use this show as a jumping off point. What could Yara have said? She could have said something like, okay, so you don't like this rug. All right. I really like this rug, but you don't like this rug. Can you please participate with me on the rug shopping? I'm feeling like you're resisting, and I want to find one together. I want to find that we both like. We're building a life together. When we move, we'll probably bring this rug with us. Let's participate together. I want to do this together. Come on, let's look for a rug. Or after this point, when he says, yeah, my apartment, she could say something like, wow, that hurts. It makes me feel like you don't care about me, like you're trying to get rid of me. It makes me feel like you don't care to make me feel welcome. Is that your intention with that? Because, yeah, that really hurts. Give Jovi a chance. Now, I don't know what Jovi would say to that, but anyway, those are other options to say. But instead, she was hurt, which makes sense. And now she's transforming that into anger and rejection of him, like, I'm out of here, I'm leaving, and I'm going to get, I'm calling a car. Because they drove here together, so it sounds like she's saying, I'm going to take an Uber in another direction, or I don't know. I'm not surprised. I'm surprised they lasted this long. The way they treat each other, I'm surprised that they're still together at this point. So they don't seem to like each other. And as I always say with couples like this, I'm just like, yeah, just pull the cord. It's over. You clearly don't like each other. Don't string it out. Just say, you know what? No harm, no foul. We had some good times. We thought we liked each other. Clearly, we're not made for each other. I'm going home. just call it quits. But what they always do in this show is then they continue to conflict and have all this terrible stuff that happens, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And then sometimes the cops are called, and it's just hard to watch.
I'm cold in the car. All the time people think like this because he make this cute face like, I'm nice, and everybody think that I'm bitch, and he's so nice, amazing, perfect person near to me.
Oh, well.
You have
I don't know if anyone thinks that now, Yara. I don't know if everyone thinks he's the perfect person and you're the B word. I don't, at least from the comments below in my videos, I don't think that's how people are interpreting this.
to go apologize.
Why?
Because
If he wanna start to trick me better, I'm sure that I will not wanna get married with him. He's not the person who I want if he will talk to me like this and be so mean and rude to me.
Yeah, honestly, if I was Yara and I was in her shoes, I would look real closely at that behavior that he has exhibited repeatedly for seemingly no reason. And I would say, even if I do manage to get him to change, I mean, anyone who's capable of doing that sort of behavior, I don't know if that's a good thing to get involved with. I mean, unless he is willing to say, you know what, I've got big problems. I treat people like crap sometimes. I get real angry and passive aggressive at times, and I need to go to therapy. Anything short of that is probably an indication that it's not only going to continue this way, but it's just going to get worse. That kind of behavior tends to get progressively worse and sometimes can escalate to a very high level of abuse. Who knows? I have no idea. Maybe Yara is a terrible person too. I just really have no idea. But if I was in Yara's shoes, I would say, wait, so let me just take a second and take a glance at the way he has treated me a few times. And let me extrapolate from that. You know, it's the tip of the iceberg kind of a thing of like, if you're capable of saying those kinds of things or doing those kinds of things, what else are you capable of? That's an important thing to ask. Now, on the other hand, a lot of times people in the beginning of a relationship will extrapolate too much from things, but I think in this instance, it would be a good idea.
What? You mad now?
Yes.
Why? Because I don't like the rug?
So normally I would say, all right, good. Jovi is trying to bridge the gap. He's trying to resolve the conflict, but he was very much consistently treating her a certain way. And then when Yara moved away, now suddenly he's trying to help. Where was the helpful attitude before? This is pretty concerning, honestly. It could indicate a cycle that we might observe, because I'm guessing they're going to stay together because they usually do before a number of cycles are repeated. Let's see how this works out. Now, if we use this as a jumping off point, what could Jovi say? He could say, Yara, I'm sorry. I was in a bad mood. I said some mean things to you back there. I made fun of the fact you didn't know what a rug was. That's unfair of me. I was hurt because you put me down and called me a swamp person. And I'm also kind of afraid because I don't know if I can afford all the things that you want. And I'm worried that you're going to reject me if I can't make enough money to buy you the things that you want. You have really expensive tastes, which is fine, but I don't know if I can afford it. And I'm worried that you're going to hate me and go home because I don't have enough money. I've had traumas about that in my past, or, whatever Jovi says. That would be totally okay to say and could get things going in the right direction. I actually believe that if you said something like that to Yara, she would be like, oh, I didn't know that about you. Thanks for saying those things. I didn't know that calling you a swamp person hurts your feelings. I'm sorry about that. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess. Or maybe in that direction, but not all the way into healthy, differentiated land, something that Jovi could say would be, hey, you know what? I feel like you've been putting me down a lot lately, and I don't like your attitude about furniture buying, but at the same time, I realize I'm being difficult, and so let's talk about this, or something like that. But he just said, you just bitch at me all the time. That's not a good way to start a conversation of trying to bridge the gap.
Bitching me all the time. One thing you bitching me, other thing the work is so bad, or what? Looking.
I don't like the.
Oh, she said you're bitching at me all the time.
I think I'm being sensitive enough to Yara. I want Yara to be happy at the end of the day, but it's also my apartment, so I want to have a little say-so on what we get to.
Absolutely, Jovi. Did you ever say it like that to her? Hey, I would like to also make a choice with you about the rug. Did you ever say that? The whole thing we saw was you putting her down, you saying we need to get out of here, you being in a bad mood, you saying, you didn't want to participate in the rug choosing process, making fun of her. As usual, when they do these kinds of interviews, the person will exhibit a little bit more differentiation. Now, I've said this before. I've treated people like him before. And it's easy to look at him and say, oh, what a jerk face. I don't like him. And that's fine. But what I see are people that I've treated before who have tremendous relational traumas in their past. And the way they protect themselves is this kind of bravado, is this kind of rejection of other people. There's often a sea, just a roiling ocean of waves of emotion happening underneath people like this, going back to when they were like 2 years old. Who knows? But that's usually what I would find in people that I treat like this. And the way that they cope with it is through constant negativity and constant pushing back on other people and always asserting themselves. You can think of it like the terrible twos or sometimes the terrible fours. People often refer to the terrible twos, but sometimes when your kid is 4, they also can go through a phase of being very obstinate. And when you are a young child and you're feeling powerless and you're alone and you're sad, you will sometimes resort to a lot of no's. And you parents out there who've had children go through this common phase, not every child goes through it, can attest to this. Your child loves pizza. They're 4 years old. They love pizza. And you're like, hey, you're trying to be nice, get them in a good mood. And you're like, hey, how about pizza? They're like, no, even though they love pizza. Because they would rather say no to you and rather reject you and rather assert their power that they're so desperately trying to get. They'd rather do that than get the beloved pizza that that they love. And when they're in that state, there's a lot of suffering that the child is going through. And when they go through it at that age, parents usually, hopefully, can attune to that and say, okay, I hear you. You don't want to have the pizza. Looks like you're in a bad mood. What would you like to do? Or would you like to sit there and color a little bit? Or no, I don't want to color. Okay, well, I'm just throwing stuff out there and I'll let you think about what you want to do. And, and then if the kid starts to bug sister and push her down, then okay, it's time for timeout or whatever discipline or attunement process you have to a child. And you deal with it. And you expect it because it's a young child and they go through moments like that and they have moods but when you aren't allowed to grow up from that phase, you retain that level of defensiveness because, when you have all those emotions and you have no other way of dealing with it and you don't trust other people, and that's key. If you go through relational traumas early in life and you aren't attuned to enough, you haven't developed the trust necessary to, one, be able to express your hurt or your preferences to other people because you have no trust that the other person is going to care. And two, you don't even trust yourself. You don't even look at your own emotions because why look at my own emotions? And so all these bubbling emotions are, going on within you, and you don't have an easy time interpreting them. It's like these flashes of emotion are sneaking by your defense mechanisms, and then you're just kind of noticing them, and then you're thinking, oh, someone did something bad to me, and then you just attack them instead of slowing down, looking at your emotions, what's happening for me, what are my needs, how do I communicate them? So when I see someone like Jovi in my office, I usually assume and usually find out later that I am correct, that they are suffering a lot and have rarely, if ever, been given a chance to have their emotions, to have tenderness, to trust someone, to feel like someone really cares about them and is in their corner. And so, I don't know. Now, we did get to meet his mom. She seemed like a level-headed person, but who knows? So that's what I would wonder about. And it can result in some very concerning behaviors from people like this, which we have seen.
With that mirror, would I choose?
Okay, I agree a white rug would look nice. I already told you we can buy a white rug, but if it's not one I like, why would I buy it?
Because we will not buy nothing, and just disgusting will be staying like it was disgusting there. No mirror now, no rug, no nothing.
Oh my God. You're ridiculous.
So if we use this as a jumping off point, calling people names is not a good idea. We all understand that when we're 10 years old and you're on the playground and someone doesn't share the ball with you, you're like, hey, I won't, share the ball, and they don't share a ball. You can't call them an a-hole or some other swear word or some other name. You use your words and you say, oh, well, that hurts my feelings that you don't want to share the ball with me. Calling people names is not okay. It's hurtful. You're actually doing something quite willfully to hurt someone's feelings, to call someone a name. You are ridiculous. Instead of, when you do that, it hurts my feelings, or when you do that, it confuses me, or I would have wished you would have done X, Y, and Z, or something like that. So don't call people names. It's not okay. We all understand that. When you see children do it, you immediately turn to the child and say, don't call people names. And as adults, we shouldn't do it either.
Okay, don't mind nothing. Do whatever you want. No, appreciate nothing.
Don't appreciate what? Your bad taste with this rug?
You're bad taste.
Yeah, it's awful to watch. They are just trying to hurt each other's feelings. They're just trying to bother each other and seemingly have no intimacy to fall back on. We all get in fights as couples, and when we get in a fight, we can rely on the foundation of our relationship, which is love and bonding and mutual respect and enjoying spending time with each other. These two don't have that seemingly, and so when they have fights like this, I can't imagine how they would pull out of this nosedive. All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Let me know what you think in the comments, and please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.